Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? We are here in the Beechcraft Bonanza. As you can see, it is being wobbled around. So let me do this. Let me do that. Alright, so yeah, we're being wobbled around in here. We're gonna say the pre-flight is complete. Pre-flight looks good. This Beechcraft is definitely a little bit different than the one from Thoranda. First of all, this is turbocharged, not naturally aspirated. We've got the wingtip tanks on it, and you know, overall. Oh, and this has the barn doors and a extra seat on the right side, which the other aircraft doesn't have. So we'll get that. We'll hop up here. We'll enter the aircraft, and we will close the door. Alright, it is very cold today across the contiguous United States, so oh, I need to turn off the overlay since we're doing general aviation. Okay. Take a look here at the payload. We are in gallons and we are in pounds. I'm 150. We'll say our co-pilot's 130 pounds. We don't need any of the cover, so make sure the park brake is pulled on, though. Tank-wise, so we can honestly just take out the tip tanks, and we'll keep this at about half tanks. Like, if you look at the full, it's about 40. We'll go about 20 gallons in each of the main tanks. That gives us 459, a pretty decent endurance as well. Fuel on board is about 40 gallons of fuel, which gives us about 459 nautical miles, which is totally fine with what we're doing. We will refill oxygen just in case we need that. And the rest of this looks good. We will go ahead and sew the EFB out here. Go ahead, start up the engine, and then we'll get this show on the road. Pretty short hop here. It's about 40 minutes just before I head over to class. So also don't be confused by the X-Plane what do you call thumbnail. I just didn't have time to put a Microsoft thumbnail. Alright, so let's do this. Let's go to the aircraft checklist, before start checklist. Pre-flight's complete. Control locks removed, seatbelt secured, cabin doors latched, park brake set, emergency air handle stowed, avionics breakers are all in, avionics off, flaps are up, oxygen pressure, I think that's somewhere down here, if I can locate it. Oxygen, we got full pressure, but we're not even going to be using our oxygen system with today's flight with how low we're flying, so yeah. Anywho, I do actually want to really quickly just hit reset, disable this, and go to the pilot, and zoom in a little bit, and look up a little bit, and that is the view that I want. Okay, avionics off, throttle closed, prop is too high RPM, mixture full rich, call flaps open, they are, aileron trim should be centered. I can verify that down here, centered, good. Alternate air is off, firewall valve open, push. That's the only thing that I'm not... there we go. Good. Landing gears down. Also, panel switches off, load meter, primary, main breakers, all in, else is on normal, CO detector, that's down there. Beacon lights coming on, battery master on. Voltage should be, I'm trying to figure out where it's at. It's prop amps. Here's bus volts, so if we head down here, see we're just over 20 ish, 23 volts. Yep, which is good. Annunciators over here. Primary alternator on. Standby alternator on. Main fuel quantities checked. Tip tank there. Aux fuel pump low. It is audible. And standby gyro pump on. Works. Illuminated. Instrument air. Let's see that green. Get that off. Cool. And I'll do engine start cold. Mixture full rich. Props full forward. Throttle fully open. And then we're going to turn this on for 3 seconds. We're going to look at the fuel flow greater than 3 gallons per hour. And we're going to prime the engine, get some fuel going in. So we'll verify again that we have fuel on the left tank, on a tank. So 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And off. And we will start up the engine here. We'll say clear. And we'll bring this down and open about 1/4 of an inch. There we go. There's good manifold pressure, about 1,000. Let that warm up. And close that out. Avionics can come on. Nav light can come on. That all looks good to me. Look at this, see how it's slaved to the panel there. Kevin He will pull it on a little bit. Okay, hit continue on both. And then this is going to, if you hit continue, you can see that this is actually going to do the instrument panel self-test. We are flying IFR today, so we'll quickly just verify that this all makes sense. So left CDI, half left, flag out of view, vertical CDI, half up out of view with a 2 indication, desired track 150, and of course we can change that there. Cool, that looks good to me. This looks good. We'll get the altimeter setting with the B key. This all looks good. This all looks good. Alright. Cabin temperature is 54 degrees. Open this up. And, oh, not this. Open up the EFB. Alright. After starting, throttle is good. Oil pressure. We're monitoring that. Oil temperature is a little bit low. But it is cold outside. You can see the actual temperature over here. We'll just say that this is all good. Air conditioning as desired. Mixture lean for taxi, and then all of this stuff, and then you have your run-up check over here. Cool. So, we'll go ahead and put in the flight plan. Very, very simple, straightforward flight plan here. What we're going to do is we're going to take it up from Spirit of St. Louis to ADRIW. It's a RNAV fix here. And then we're going to go to Paducah. So there's that. Pretty straightforward. We're cruising eastbound. We're going to be cruising today. We're going to be cruising at 9,000 feet today. Pretty clear skies. But yeah, we're going to be cruising at 9,000 feet. Beautiful tailwinds at that altitude. And this is a very, very, very powerful aircraft. It really gets going, so no problems there. I'm going to go ahead and lean out my mixture here. This looks good to me. Okay, so let's go to Spirit real quick. Let's go to weather data. Wind's coming in from the northwest. So if we preview that, wind's coming in 3. We'll take 26 left here. Alright, we'll take 26 left. Go back to the map page. You can zoom in. So we'll join Alpha and take Alpha down. That looks good to me. Alright, let's now when I put in the power in this, when I release the parking brakes, this has enough boost, enough pressure or enough power for it to just get up and going. So, anywho, let's go ahead and get the taxi light on, release that park brake, see how we're already going to start moving. As normal, I'm going to get some power out. And we're going to taxi this like how we taxi the Arrow. So basically, I'm going to let it build up some airspeed, and then I am going to brake. Once we get about 20 ground speed here, I'm going to add some braking action, and we'll slow her down. So, and here we're coming on this. And we're really going to be cooking. So we'll I'll lean out the mixture just a little bit more. Oh, and we're on a moving area. Let's make sure we're altitude reporting. See how it really builds up airspeed quickly. But alright. Alright, here's Alpha 2. Coming up on the departure end of the runway. Go ahead, and this is one thing I don't like with Microsoft, is it's definitely not as nice as X-Plane with their stuff. Okay. Park brake set. Run through our run-up checklist real quick. Park brake set, enunciators. Remote compass slaved and aligned. So there you go. You can see that it is slaved. Now, as far as getting it aligned, we are taking off at 260, so we're going to have a westbound heading setting in here. So west is 270, we're going to be 10 less than that, so we're going to be at 260 right about there. And if you look at default nav, this will show your desired track 142. If you look at the track down here, well, should show you what the desired track. Yeah, desired track is 142. So, have this back on the nav page. So 142 is over here, right about there. All right, that's good. Mixture full rich. Throttle 1700 RPM. There's that turbo lag. Okay. So we're going to do our prop check and then our mag check. So we're going to first clear our prop. First time that we're going to do this, we're going to see a drop in manifold pressure, or a drop in RPM, increase in manifold pressure. So cycle it first. There you go, increase manifold pressure, drop in RPM. Alright, cycle it again. Alright, and I'll look outside one time, make sure that it doesn't sputter. Which doesn't. So that's good, let it come back up to 1700. And what we're going to do is check the mag drop for 115 RPM. Little bit excessive there. Still within the limits though. Annual temp's good now as well. Good, alternator good, standby. Oh yeah, and you can check the alternator. Forget the primary alternator off. Look at the load meter. Right? Good, and you get the standby alternator off. Alternator load 0, good. Right. That's your alternator check. Prop heat. There you go. Throttle back to 1000 RPM. Oh, I forgot to turn on the headphone jack. There we go. This sounds a lot nicer. That was pretty loud. For noise cancellation. Okay. And then electric trim, we were going to set it up right about there. Alright, autopilot. This is all of that. We're running, again, pretty late on time, so we're just going to do the before takeoff here. Is good. Aux fuel pump off, reconditioning off, landing light. Get our landing and strobe light on. Weather radar, turn that on, which it is. Good. Takeoff. So if you look at the our cruise climb, we're going to nose over it, bring the prop back to 25, and our manifold pressure back to 25, and our prop back to 25. That's going to be our cruise climb. Alright, props, make sure it's good. Release the park brake, and we'll get going here. Again, this is like a super rushed procedure for it. Ideally, you wouldn't want to rush everything like how I just did, but, you know, we are in the sim, so it doesn't really matter as much. Do have a decent crosswind component here. Alright, here we go. 2.6 left on the paint. I'm going to add in some power. You can hear that turbo whistling. That's nice. Alright, airspeed's alive. I mean, just look at the performance. Cold weather performance in the Bonanza is absolutely just insane. Absolutely insane. Okay. So there we go, and at about 1,000. Alright, I'm going to turn on course here. I'm going to make a left turn on course, standard rate. Pitch for about 120, which is what we're at. Runway distance, no runway available. Gear's coming up, gear is up. Keep this going, and we'll make that turn. Alright, transition to our cruise climb. Manifold pressure, pitch down a little bit. Manifold pressure's coming back to about 25. And props come back to about 25. We can get our nose lowered. Looking good. Alright, we'll trim it out. Alright, flight director. Nav. And vertical speed, we're at about 2,000. So we'll go 2,000. Engage, and it'll engage the vertical speed, arm the altitude, and then we will engage the autopilot. And just like that, we are climbing out. I mean, everything goes like this in the Bonanza compared to the other aircrafts. We're doing a 2323 cruise performance profile. Alright, let's run through our mixture. That's good. That's good. This says throttle fully open. That checklist isn't correct. If I remember correctly, it was 25 and 25. Cowl flaps, fine air conditioning. 91, holy shit. Okay. Yeah, you need to be reduced. Holy Jesus. You can actually check what the cabin target is over here, which is kind of cool. About 64, something nice and cool. Oxygen, that's fine. And then you have your cruise checklist, which is just closing the cowl flaps, landing light, pitot heat on if outside air temperature is less than 4 degrees Celsius, which is our case, actually. Our outside air temperature degree, inside is Celsius, we're way below that, we'll get our pitot heat on. Even though we have no visible moisture, it's always just a good practice to keep that on. there we go. And we're climbing on out. Yeah, so 9,000. We're actually just about to reach our cruise altitude here. And we should have a very nice tailwind here. But yeah, we're doing about 23 on our performance profile. There you go. It's going to capture the altitude. And there we go. So cruise. We'll let the airspeed build up, and well, actually, this will build up really quickly. So what I'm going to do is I will first bring back the manifold pressure down to about 23. So here's 24, and here's 23. There's 23 inches of manifold pressure. Props come back to about 2,300 RPM. So here's 24. Here's 23. Mixture, we're going to lean out. So we can go EGT, lean find. Pretty lean here. We'll go rich. Here's rich of peak. And close our cowl flaps. And now we're cooking it on our airspeed. Ground speed, we're in 212 knots on the ground. Performance is just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, even look at this. We're in clear air, and our airspeed here is just—it's cooking. So I'm gonna add a little bit more drag. I'll have our cowl flaps opened up just a little bit here, and then I'm actually gonna change this to. But yeah, there you go. Super nice performing aircraft. And these lights can't come off. Yeah, you got some cabin lights up the top here. You have air vents as well. Some misbehaving sunshades. Yeah. Alright, what's interesting is I actually have a bit of homework that I need to do that I have not done yet. So, instead of this being screen on display capture, I'm going to change this to game capture, and we'll do specific window, MSFS, and Rec 2100, and boom. So now I can open up other stuff and it won't affect that. Alright, cool. I'll let that alone. We'll let that cruise along. We're at 6 minutes. Basically what I have to do is just do some homework, so I am gonna pull that up on my computer. I'm gonna multitask, yeah. So, actually I think it's on Word. Go. There we go. It'll take like just a little bit here to do November. Cool, that is taken care of. I will exit out of that, and I will get the screen back to display capture, and I will delete game capture. Cool. Alright. You can see we do have some clouds popping up, some cumulus clouds popping up. We do again have repeato heat for this reason, but it shouldn't accumulate much, if any, icing. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at Paducah's weather. Actually, I'm going to do this on 4Flight, because it's just a whole lot easier to visualize that this way. So if we look at procedure, approach, winds are favoring runway 32. We'll do the RNAV 32, approach, JIPGO, and we'll do the procedure turn. We'll do LPV minimums, and we'll add that. Cool. So let's program that in. We'll go into Paducah. We'll go load procedure. Approach, we're going to do the RNAV runway 32 approach. And we're going to go JIPGO. and we're going to do the, well, not procedure turns, more like the course reversal, but yeah, we'll load the approach. And if you go into preview, you can zoom in and actually see that. There you go. Here's the thing. So after here, we're going to directly sequence the approach. So with this loaded, what we can do is just remove Paducah, so it'll actually sequence the approach after we get that. Because when we would have filed to our final or our initial approach fix anyways, so that's fine over there. And now you can actually see a VNav calculator. If you look at 3000 over here and you go into VNav, and let's say our vertical speed we want to do about 800 feet per minute, got about 20 minutes till our time to top of descent. We'll go back to here, and we'll leave it on that. So we got about 20 minutes till our top of descent, and then from there we're just going to go down, shoot the approach, and be good. Got some clouds coming up. And here's the cabin. Oh, no, that's not the cabin. Here's the cabin. Excellent cabin that's modeled. Basically, here are your chocks, but you have a lot of features in here. You have, I say you have a lot of features, and there's really only one feature, which is this little tray table area. But I mean, that's still pretty great. The modeling is done really well, and that's what really brings me to flying the Blacksquare over the Tharanda. Is the modeling is really good. Systems are also really well done. Systems are actually done a little bit better in here than in the Tharanda. Even if it's a little bit older with the panel style compared to the Tharanda, it's still pretty solid. So this is going to be an RNAV approach. I've only flown an ILS in the Blacksquare Bonanza, so as far as the GPS approach goes, I should be able to switch the HSI source. It should automatically do this for me if I hit RNAV. I think it'll still work. Here you have a GPS approach, so it should all work correctly, but we will see if it does. Anywho, we're about to actually sequence that approach now. And you can see it's a 4 nautical mile hold, exits at GPCO, and then there's a final approach fix, and it identifies all of that for us, which is just quite great. And here you can see we're actually about to enter some clouds. Again, we don't really want to be hanging around these clouds for too long. If you look at our temperature, though, our temperature is showing minus 15 degrees almost, which is crazy. You can see the airspeed limitations. So landing gear extension is 154, as well as that approach first notch of flaps is also at 154. So you can use that gear and flaps to really slow you down. We're shooting our approaches at about 120 here in the Bonanza. But anywho, I digress. Go back to the nav page. Desired track 143, which is what this is at. I'll just kind of keep swinging this around. Boom. And I got about 3 minutes till we get to that point, and then we'll be on our way. Coming through some clouds here. Been about 15 minutes since takeoff, so not really going to worry about switching the tanks just yet. We'll switch the tanks once this hits 30 minutes. So about another 15 minutes or so, and we'll switch the tank over. You can see we're getting a little bit of frost accumulation on the windshield, so we're going to get the prop de-ice on, and then we're going to also pull the defrost on. And we're going to pull it all the way out. And you can see that instantly cleared up the icing here on the windshield. It is very beautiful, though. Alright. Actually... Alright, that looks good. No more visible moisture, so prop de-ice and defrost can come off. Beautiful. I mean, it definitely does look very, very nice. Very, very pretty. Oh, here are your armrests. You can stow them like this, and you get this really cool 3-seat action, or you can extend them. I think you can do the same with these guys, yeah. You can pull them down, and you get this sort of 3-seater thing. It's pretty sweet. Alright. About 15 minutes to go. Basically, we are going to switch the tanks, then start our descent, and that'll kind of work out just about. So, yeah, not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Alright, got about 11 minutes till our top of descent here. have an audio panel over here. You can do this, which is kind of cool. 3D audio. Here's the funny thing with the 3D audio. Oh, here we go, marker volume. I'm gonna disable that. I don't want marker volumes. Cabin speaker, pretty cool, pretty cool. You have intercom setup here. You can do music. Oh. I wonder if this has GPS steering. I don't believe so. Well, here's the easiest way to see is if this says GPSS, then yes. Which it does not. But, anywho. Here you can see the approach plates starting to load up, but yeah, about 9 minutes or so, we're gonna go ahead and drop the nose. We'll get that descent going. And some vents over here and over here, which are not adjustable. You have a lot of this stuff, so your knife lights will look pretty sweet. I think the modeling too is pretty decent during the night time. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We are going to 22 minutes, plenty of time. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can set the radar altitude, because this is a radio altimeter, right? So what that means is we're gonna, again, we should have checked WAS and all that shit on the ground, but just for time's sake and the fact that I know that this is a simulator, we omitted all of that. Anywho, here you can see that the LPV minima, our DH with our radio altimeter is going to be 347. So here's 300, here's 310, here's 320, here's 330, here's 340. We'll set 340 in because there's no really a way for me to set 347, so we'll set that as our radar altitude. Okay. Get that back up. 8 minutes to go, and our chronometer that we started for fuel says the 7. So quite literally, as soon as we start that descent, we're gonna also switch the tanks, and that'll all be good to go. So cylinder head temps are good and all that. Alright. It's funny because I feel like I'm quite literally racing time, and the time is just to get a class. There is no class tomorrow though, which is awesome. Which is quite awesome. I'm probably going to be able to sleep in, go to the gym today, get a pretty decent workout in, and then sleep after that. So that would be pretty good. You know how cool it would be to own a Bonanza? Like just any airplane. That would just be so freaking dope. It's like, yeah, come on, kids, let's hop in the plane. We're going to Florida today. I mean that is just, that seems awesome. These three functions are not going to work. I think RNAV will work. once we're on the approach. And since this automatically sequences the approach, we don't have to activate the approach, even when we're on an established portion of the approach. Other cool thing with the transponder is it also has a lot of different things. You can see the flight time, 28 minutes. You can hit this, you get outside air temperature, density, altitude. With it being minus 14 degrees, I mean, you get up timers, down timers, so a lot of functions there. Batwing 6. It's cool until you realize it is a money to noisemaker. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. And most of the sort of like shenanigans that come with, you know, owning an aircraft just make it like not as appealing, you know. It's like, yeah, it would be cool to fly it, but then you got to think about where you're going to store it. You're going to think about maintenance. I mean, you can do preventative maintenance, like, you know, cleaning spark plugs and, you know, making sure your tires are nice and shit like that. But, you know, it's the nitty-gritty stuff that's going to drive you nuts. You're going to have to find an ANP or an IA or this or that. And then, you know, at the end of the day, it's still a pretty expensive thing to buy. So, you know. But in general, it'd be so cool to kind of just own a plane, despite all the logistics that go into it. But yeah, look at this. So we have 23 inches of manifold pressure, 2300 RPM, burning about 15 gallons per hour. And if you look at, holy shit, you know, a little bit of turbulence here. If you're looking at the airspeed here, look at that, indicated cooking it, absolutely cooking it. I mean, our ground speed is also just 209 knots on the ground, and this isn't even the most powerful cruise setting that you can do. You can do 25-25. You can also, you know, quite a few other performance figures that you can do in here, but we have it on a fairly moderate performance profile, and yeah, we're cooking. We're cooking. About 3 minutes to top a drop, and we're doing the course reversal. Going to come in, and yeah, so airspeed. We want to slow down to about 120 to shoot the approach, especially since these are also distance-based. So, you know, it's a 4 nautical mile instead of it being a minute. I used to fly at Maryland for a company in California many years ago. Every little thing was a cost. Landing fee alone at some of the places we went to were enough to kill the desire to own. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I think the one thing I really do love about the sim, though, is, especially when it comes to general aviation, is you can, with the right aircraft, you can really kind of immerse yourself in that. You know, you can look at the performance profiles. You can look at, you know, this is what, the TSIO 550, I think. I don't know. I don't remember, but you have different aircrafts, and they all have their different performance characteristics, and your at-home sim, of course, can never replicate what it actually feels to fly, but you can learn about the planes, fly them, and you can go place to place in them, and it's so much cheaper. Like, you really don't realize that until you start renting planes. Like, you know, I rented out a 172, right, for a couple hours, and the cost to rent a 172 is just about $200 per hour. If you were to do like this flight in the 172 rented out, that's a $200 trip, at least. If you do it in a better aircraft like the Arrows are even more expensive. You know, you're looking at like $400 or $350, something like that. And then you look at something like a twin Cessna. It's expensive. So getting that enjoyment of flying, that itch to fly, definitely nice. Of doing that in the sim. Okay, about a minute ago, Only thing I strongly dislike about MSFS over something like SFD is lack of ground friction and ground. Yeah, 100%. And even then, like, real quick, let's go ahead and switch our tanks here. Aux fuel pump low. And right tank. And aux fuel pump off. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Once, not only on ground effect, but also, yeah, you just said it, ground effect and ground friction. Ground friction is a huge thing. For me, it's the biggest, like, immersion killer in Microsoft, is literally any control input that you put in here. We're going to go ahead and just engage this and descend down to 3000 here, because by the time the nose actually drops and all of that, and it gets to that established descent rate and it's stable, yeah, we are in clear air, so we could go up to, we could ride the yellow arc. I'm not going to. I'm going to inch power back to 20 inches of manifold pressure here. Or I think it's 21 and 21. Yeah, we'll go about 21 inches of manifold pressure, and I'm going to bring my prop back to 2100. Just slow ourselves down a little bit so we're not just absolutely just cooking it into the approach. And also get the altimeter going. But yeah, the ground friction is the thing that frustrates me so much in Microsoft. It's because, like, quite literally in any aircraft that you're in, you apply just a little bit of rudder and the thing will just completely go off. It's terrible. Ground effect, same thing. You can't ride it in ground effect and then kind of put the plane down. You just kind of come in and then plop it down. X-Plane's a lot better in that regard. Still not close to what it is in real life, but yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. And another thing too is even like the, you know, almost $1 million sims like the Frascas and all that crap, they're just as bad, if not they're worse. Like, my joke has always been that, you know, during instrument training, what we would do is we would go up in the sim, do whatever procedure, and then we'd crash land back because the feeling is just so different. So, but yeah, I mean, landing in the sim is definitely, in my opinion, harder than landing it in real life for sure. Alright, this is good. If you actually look at our, I mean, we are hitting 800. Alright, so let's plop you open. Oh, another thing I want to do about the airport info is if we look at where we're landing, if we're landing on 3-2, and we look at where the terminals are missing on here. Awesome. So let me get the charts real quick. Pulled up. Alright. Yeah, it's gonna vacate air carrier, general aviation terminal hangar. Can't remember where I fueled up at or what FBO I was at. ILS hold, air carrier, apron, terminal. Looks like the main terminal is over here. So here's the east apron. We'll vacate right is what we'll do. That looks good to me. Let me get the approach chart pulled up in here. Let's see, we are going to, I mean, what I could do is, because if you look at the map, let's go in here. I could just hit activate approach. Yeah, we're going direct to, and now the arrow goes down, and it still is sequenced. We're still descending, so what is I gonna do? View charts. Yeah. Here we go. So we're gonna hit JIPGO, and then we're going to do our little. Let's see. It's right-hand turn. It's been so long. Holy shit. Right-hand turns, we're coming in from the unprotected side, from the northwest. If I was coming in here, I'd do Parallel. Let's see what this does. This is going to do to a teardrop, it looks like. Holy shit, I really should refresh on. If it's been a minute. Yeah, no, teardrop. Yeah, a teardrop entry. Okay, I was right. Okay, let's... Got some visible icing here. Let's defrost that. Any MU2 has the best ground friction I've seen in game. TFDI MD11 is okay as well. Gotcha, gotcha. Well, that's good to know. Look how, like, I turn on the defrost and it instantly just takes all of the icing that accumulated, which is... Oh, here's the cool thing with this one. You can use the mouse wheel to adjust the level of noise cancellation. I think YouTube just crashed on my phone. That's crazy. Okay, but yeah, anywho, you can see the actual stuff in here. Systems in it. Oh, and landing and text lights. Can't come on. Once we actually level off here at 3000, you're gonna notice the airspeed's gonna naturally just come back. Because we've got about 1,000 feet to go here. Guarantee you, as soon as we level it off, yeah, that airspeed's gonna dwindle back down to 120. With this power setting that we've set, I have my cowl flaps over here. And I mean, I should have started that timer when we started that, but I mean, we're already about to be on the approach. We'll run our gumps and ups, and that'll include the gas tank. The other thing too is, I mean, it is nice, but there are a lot of cases where I think X-Plane looks a little bit better on the overall exterior part. Like, that's why I like flying the Cirrus, the Torque Sim Cirrus, with the TDS GTNXi. Specifically the Avidyne, you know, of course it's going to be the Avidyne. The Avidyne Cirrus with the TDS GTN is the best general aviation, like, period, experience in any sim. Oh, and the CIS stuff. The CIS Senecas are phenomenal. They also got a new update, and the new update is just top tier. Okay, so we're gonna go outbound here, and then once we are at Jibku for an intermediate fix, we're gonna step down to 2000 for a glide path intercept. See, look, power's just creeping on down. Airspeed's just kind of creeping on down. And I have this at 2121. I can even bring this down to like 20 inches of manifold pressure, and that airspeed's just gonna keep coming back. So we're about 2 nautical miles from our initial approach fix here. Alright, hold, yep, teardrop, lovely. So we're gonna swing it to the left here. And it should do that wind correction and all that crap for us. Literally, as soon as I land and park, I'm gonna shut it down and I'm gonna have to run a class. But that's just how my class schedule is right now. Here we're doing the teardrop entry. Desired track 323. Looks like a right turn to 126 now. Again, look at that airspeed. I mean, the airspeed's still a little bit high, but I mean, I can get gear. I can get our flaps to slow us down. Okay, we'll bring the prop back to 1000 RPM here. Listen to how quiet that is. Okay. 321 is going to be our final approach course here. Sorry, 320 is our final approach course. 321 to intercept Jibku. We'll put in our final approach course in the CDI. So like that. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna make that right turn now. Alright, bring the power back down. We'll go 18 inches of manifold pressure. Interesting little rally effect here. The scattering is a little fucked up, but not sure why, but hey. Alright, and you have GPS approach. Oh, I clicked on that, it didn't really work. Let's hit we'll hit the approach button once we're at the glide path intercept point. Leave the rest alone. Alright, we're at about 140. Alright, so we're gonna go down to 2000. 2000. And we'll do got another 800 foot per minute descent. Once this hits 0, basically. And Vukuk is our final approach fix. We actually have the runway in sight. It is visual for us. You got this over here. Alright, so now we're gonna engage. We'll go down to 2000 here. And we'll actually, with the 7 nautical miles, 7 nautical miles, we can do a very, very shallow descent. Like 200 feet per minute, 300 feet per minute. We're about 6.5 out. We'll do a 500 feet per minute descent. Now once we're at 2000, I'm going to arm the approach mode, follow the glide path down to minimums. look at that. It says GPS active. About 4 nautical miles, about 400 feet to go. This is looking good. Airspeed's building up, but again, we're a category B, and that's based off of our indicated airspeed over the threshold for our minima. We're gonna drop like a rock as soon as I get that gear down. Or not drop, our airspeed's gonna drop like a rock as soon as I get their gear down. So we'll kind of be a bit clean here, and this thing can slow down like that. So here is our glide path intercept point, which is our final approach fix, which is VUCUC coming in here. Alright, here we go. I'm going to arm approach. And here we go, about 2.5 out from there. As soon as we hit that, we're going to hit the gumps, and then our ups check is going to be 300 above minima, 757 MSL, so about 1100 MSL is going to be our ups check here. And we are just below 153 as well, so we can just hit the gear, hit 1 notch of flaps, and that'll slow us the fuck down. Alright, about 1.7 out. About a mile to go. Ground speed room 120 over the ground. And about 140 indicated. For what it's worth. Alright. Should be getting that glide slope intercept point any second now. You can see the glide slope needles are swinging down on that HSI. Is it HSI? DG? Whatever. It's been a minute, so I need to refresh, but yeah. Okay, here we go. And let's run our gumps check. So gas, full as tank, is going to be on the right tank. We are on the right tanks. Undercarriage, below 153, gears coming down. Flaps coming to approach. Alright. Prop will leave at cruise. The mixture is going to be full rich. Switches are good. We don't need to have our aux pump on in this aircraft, from what I've been told. And now you can see that airspeed's coming into the white arc quite nicely. And we're coming in nicely here. So that looks good. Look at the look at that compass. Standby out. What? Okay. Looking good. Alright, there's 1400, so we're approaching our ups check. Alright, undercarriage, gears down, 3 green. Prop coming full forward. Switches are good, power's coming back. And the white arc, flaps full. Slow down to 80 here. Autopilot's coming off. My airplane. Gonna slow down here. Alright. Go back to the map page. Yeah. Looking good. It is windy, so... Jesus. Oh my gosh. Yeah, look at that wind. Yeesh. Alright, looking good. I'm also going visual, by the way, right now. Because I know my glide slope and all that crap is oof. really coming in hot. That airspeed is not gonna help us. Oof. I don't know, does Microsoft do thermals? I think they do, because it's adding a whole lot over the trees area here. Add a little bit of power. Coming in. Alright, jeez. Alright. Alright. Alright, we're down. Alright, well, let's take the next right here. On Alpha. Oof. Not too bad. Alright. Here we go. Taxi past us to our after landing check here. Alright, single pilot, so let's do a park brake. Alright. Strobe coming off, landing coming off, mixture, I'll lean it out. Flaps coming up. Looking good over there. And park brake coming off. We'll just take it straight in. Oh, and this will get the flight director off. Nice, and we can open up the cowl flaps as well. Lovely. So we'll just take it into the movement area here and park her up. Alright. Alright. A little bit hard to tell where the... That's another thing I don't like about Microsoft is the default airports are absolute junk. But we'll just park it right here. Alright, and park brake on. After landing, cowl flaps open, flaps up. Whether well, hold on. Shut down. Here we go. Park brake, avionics. Went off. Good. And mixture. Good. Mags off. I like to take my stuff right about now. Cool. And put the control lock. We'll open this up. And since it's just me and the other person, we'll head on out. We'll duck a little bit, head on out. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you can click on here to maybe set the chock. There we go, set the chocks. There we go. Cool. We will hop back in real quick to set the tie downs, pitot cover, engine cover, head back outside, close the door. Alright, cool. And that concludes this little trip down to Paducah. Gotta run the class.